Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it is Cumley here, and today I'm happy to bring you episode number 6, I believe, of Cumley Presents, which is, of course, my show, just about here, some New Earth. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a game played by N0tail, and he's going to be playing Maliken. It's an interesting topic, I think. I think Maliken is a very, very strong hero. I don't think we see him played enough at, the mid and lower levels, because there's a little bit of finesse that goes into playing Maliken, which is that you absolutely have to farm your core items, and you have to farm them really efficiently so that you can become a presence in those team fights as soon as humanly possible. And so today, most of what we're going to be focusing on is N0tail playing the Maliken, but also specifically how he gets his farm, where he's getting his farm from, because, this isn't a stomp game from when I was looking at it. He doesn't go 26-1 and have some monster farm. He has a very reasonable score, but he also has huge GPM. And those are the two things we want to put together, where not when we're playing perfectly and the other team is playing awful, but in normal, typical games, what is the best thing we should be looking for? How can we keep our farm up? Now, something that you're going to be noting is it's actually going to be a modified 2-2-1. Because they have 2 in mid, but they also have 3 near the top right now, which is, of course, a little bit different than usual. You don't see that run. Well, you see that run sometimes in pubs, but typically it's because, these two wanted to go top, and they said top, please, and this guy said top or jungle. He's like on a jungle on Tundra, and these guys both called mid. Just a little bit different situation, but you might get the regular idea. I'm going to turn down my sound just a teensy little bit here. Yeah, there we go. And so yeah, but they have a 2-2-1 as well, I think. Yeah, they have Hag up top, and then they have the Polywog bottom, and certainly they have 5. Oh, they have Parasite. There's a little dot in the minimap. Fucks me up so much. I never see that little tiny dot to know where my teammate is. I miss so many ganks from Parasite because they don't say anything, and I don't see the fucking tiny little dot. But yeah, so they're running like a 1-2-1-1 strategy. And right off the bat, the items Maliken chose to get were just 2 minor totems and a crushing claw. Now, again, that's not typical. I actually don't even know. He probably just bought something on the courier. What did he buy? Yeah, he got a bottle. So he was rushing that bottle as soon as possible. He knew that they weren't really going to be able to stop him from getting it, especially when you have a Plague Rider in lane to actually deny that creep and really kind of pull the thing all the way back to here. There's really just not so much they can do. Behemoth standing in a really good spot, because what he wants to do is he wants to draw a line. See, that was a little bit off. He wants to draw a line from the edge of this cliff right here, just to the edge of this cliff right here, and it's just barely enough to completely close out the area. Oh, also, I found this really cool trick out. If you press K in a replay, you can draw lines. Yeah. Look at this. You right-click and make a little box. Oh, this is the danger zone. Okay. Plague Rider, pretty fucked. Again, because what he did was he drew a line, and he went from here, and he just completely closed it off. Now, there are some times where there are spots that are better than others, This is completely off topic. But if you're a behemoth and you do something like this, and they have a single Rune of Blight, they can make a pretty large escape, if they go off in here. But if you do it somewhere like here, and they have to run all the way over here to eat this tree, or they have to try to eat this one and squeeze up here and eat this tree, it's totally different. And so when you're a behemoth player and you really like playing behemoth, you have to know all of this shit, across the entire map. It's pretty tricky. One of the things we are seeing is that Maliken is using his sword throw quite a bit. Again, he does have a regen rune right now, which is a huge incentive for him to actually, spam it out as much as possible. But just in general, it's a really good skill for, harassing and getting those creep last hits, because it does a shit ton of damage compared to your normal melee attack. Not that 69 base damage is anything to sneeze at with that Death Sword of Death up. But, it's nowhere near as good as actually using the sword throw. So, he definitely has to be careful. Silhouette is a hero that does a shit ton of burst damage, especially at lower levels. It's still quite a bit of damage. She stacks a few of those stars up on you, and pretty quickly you're finding your health pool just is evaporating. But, again, he has the escape mechanism if he absolutely needs it, which is getting over the vision with the sword throw. But he doesn't want to use it like that. He doesn't want to save his sword throw consistently, hoping that he's not going to... See, right there, he uses it, and he's in a good position where he knows he's not going to get BT blocked, and so he's able to actually use it. It's a tight balance. It's a tight balance between thinking, okay, I really want to make sure that I don't die. But, again, he has like 800 HP. He's a strength hero. He's got a lot of bulk to him. It's pretty hard for him to kill it. And the sword thrower is doing so much damage. He actually takes it and he just does one auto attack with it and runs away. He's not overcommitting. He's not saying, I'm not going to take it at all and lose out on free damage on you. And he's not saying, oh, I teleported you, therefore I have to chase you for 20 minutes. It's just doing as much damage as you possibly can. And now he goes back and he gets another rune. He gets that haste rune. And these are just so big. That early bottle is really working out well in Maliken. It's really letting him use that throw whenever he needs it. Really letting him keep up the farm. Right now he's sitting at about 194 GPM. Right, which isn't huge. It's not huge. I think we can pretty confidently say that. But the point of Maliken, again, isn't that you need huge farm the entire game. It's to very smoothly, very steadily, and as quickly as you can manage it, kind of get your core items. And so that's what we're going to see from him. He uses the hasten, but unfortunately he has to back away. He just doesn't have the HP to keep going when Silhouette TP'd in there. I'm kind of interested to see if he was going to try to go for the kill, maybe if Silhouette didn't come in. Maybe back off with the haste and then push back in and do a sword throw on Behe for the kill. But, the world may never know, just because obviously that Silhouette did TP in. He's using the life sword, especially when he has the opportunity. There's no competition for last hits. He knows the creeps are going to be as low as he wants them. Might as well get a little bit of free HP out of it, right? He doesn't have a rune. It's not going to be up for another minute. And so he doesn't want to stop farming, so just using that life sword whenever he can. Let's just take a look at a little bit of what's going on in the rest of the game. We do have Trixie playing on Balfagor with the Play the Greaves. I should say that I believe that this is just kind of a scrim that happened. I don't think anything really significant was happening. There's no tournament or anything that this is from. It's just, what is it, Team Easy? Yeah, Team Easy going up against MSI. And, I was just looking through replays. I was trying to find a decent replay to cast, and I was like, oh, let's see what N0tail's been up to. And I saw this Maliken, and, Maliken's a hero that I really like playing. But, kind of converting that into a win, it can be a little bit tricky, and that's something that we want to pay a lot of attention to. So we're going to speed up this game a little bit. Just kind of make this a little bit more broad than it is right now. Again, this is a lot of farming. This is a lot about the little touches that let him continue the farm. He's not rushing things. He's got his boots. He's got he got a shield to end up getting it. He didn't get that right away. But he's got it now because that's going to help so much against that Silhouette, who consistently wants to just auto-attack you, auto-attack you, auto-attack you, to really try to stack those on you. The Balfagor are doing just such a great job pushing this tower. Him and Nymph, of course, a really nice combination for many, many reasons. Nymph is actually going for like a healing pod and then one in each kind of build. Oh, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But what does that leave? That leaves Maliken here, free farming metal. It looks like he's going to go grab another regen rune. Really great for him. He built a power supply. He's building a blood chalice. And when you see combinations of items like that, that's a very good sign that the person is very much looking to translate the farm that he's getting right now into overall game consistency. Because, he's not smashing anybody. He's playing well, and he's last hitting well, but we see that kind of coming for a little bit of a gank here. What just happened? Why am I not? Ah! There we go. I was locked on nobody, apparently. Or somebody that died. He wants to be able to continue his farm, and all of these regen items are, one, going to let him farm a ton, two, they're going to let him stay alive. Clutch Power Supply keeps you alive a surprising number of times. Always a good pickup, but don't pick it up before you need it. Ali, that is firmly pointed at you. One of the things, he hasn't had to poke into the jungle yet. He hasn't had to do anything like that. I'm going to be interested to see his specific item build. Because we can take a little bit of time in talking about that while all this farm fun is happening. I want you to lock. There we go. That's so good. The core item set on Maliken, to me, is always going to be Shrunken Head and Whispering Helm. And, the Whispering Helm is probably less core than the Shrunken Head, but I think it just synergizes so well with him that it's just absolutely ridiculous to pass it up. Partially because you can triple stack engines with it and clear it so easily with his ultimate. But also because it gives you armor, because it gives you the lifesteal. And, Maliken kind of thrives when he's low on HP, so that lifesteal really kind of lets you hover at that low HP for as long as possible. We did see, obviously, you guys are seeing what's going on the screen. They're kind of having a little bit of a team fight, and he was doing what he could. He was moving around. He was using his ultimate, but he wasn't over dedicating. Because he knows he does have that ability to get back on people with sword throw when he needs it. He doesn't have to, hug them nonstop and just hope that they don't kill him. But part of the reason why that item set is so core, and we do see him die right here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Really great fissures by Behemoth, who is being played by Isaac Jude. Somebody told me who that was. Is it Semi-Jew? Or is that too obvious? That might be too obvious. It's definitely somebody. And if somebody wants to tell me on my JTV chat, I will give you props. But part of the reason that's so core, and I swear to God I'm going to get to this point at some point here. It is Semi-Jew. Okay. So I'm really smart. Is that if I asked everybody that's watching this right now to describe to me Maliken's ultimate, almost everybody is going to tell me that it has a really great disable on it. It makes people run around like spazzes, right? They're like panicked and they're running around. It's really hard to click on them sometimes. And almost everybody is going to tell me that it gives you a really great ranged attack that has splash. And some of you are even going to tell me the last part, but I guarantee you that most of you think that basically sums up the ability. But it gives you so much armor. It gives you so much armor. I think it's 20, 40, 60 armor, and then it fades down from there, depending on if it's level 1, 2, or 3. That's a huge fucking amount of armor. Like, that's like huge hits become love tap amount of armor. And that really lets you tank a shit ton of damage. And when you combine that with Shrunken Head, suddenly magic damage isn't doing shit to you, and physical damage isn't doing shit to you, and you have this huge ranged attack that really lets you put out a lot of AoE damage. And it's that kind of synergy that really makes it a powerhouse combination. And when you put Whispering Helm on top of that, you're also constantly filling up your health. And so it becomes even harder for you to die. And now the biggest problem with Maliken is that he's so good during that time, and then when that stuff starts to turn off and the armor starts to fade, he's a little bit more vulnerable, right? But the whole idea is that you're going to be able to do so much within that time frame that it doesn't even fucking matter, right? You want to do as much as you possibly can while you have that let's call it the Holy Trinity of Maliken. And that's why you see things like Rift Shards picked up as a damage item after the core, is that people want to do as much damage as possible while they're, completely in control. You can see his armor is just not that high right now at all. I don't know why it didn't even show it. Maybe it just already faded. Because it only lasts. It doesn't last for the entirety of the ultimate. I should say that as well. It starts really high and it immediately starts to fade. We'll have to pay attention to it next time he uses it. But it's just so huge. And that's part of the reason why I love getting a Doombringer and Maliken, like, super late game. Like, if we're not winning the game and I really feel like we need to win the game, I'll just buy a fucking Doombringer. Because you do so much damage when you're basically invulnerable. But, again, like, he's farming, he's moving around, Nymph teleporting him right to bot after that team fight. They knew that the push was over, and Nymph immediately ports him bot to farm. That's more important than it seems, because it's going to take the other team a long, long time to get here, and then he just walks straight up. Getting these little touches that let you farm more and more and more. We can see that his GPM is almost at 400 right now. And I think a lot of people, if they were playing this Maliken right now, honestly, their GPM might be something like 260. More than 100 less. Like 130, 140 less. And they wouldn't feel like they were playing bad at all. They would feel like they're having a really good game. They might even have the same kill score count. But we see right now he's got that Shrunken Head and he's just absolutely doing work. Do you see how high his armor was? It's ridiculous. And like no damage was coming in on him. He does finally have that core with the Whispering Helm. I didn't talk about it, but he did buy the items in a little bit of a different order. He didn't rush the Whispering Helm. He didn't need it. He didn't need to panic stack those things. He wanted more HP. And so he started buying components of Shrunken Head early. Which is totally fine. Play around with it. See what you like the best. We're going to go ahead and we're going to slow this down a little bit. There's actually some pretty good team fights going in right here. Did I slow it down too much? Look how slow this feels now. Oh my god, I feel like I'm watching slow motion. Going from 4x to 1x. But yeah, Maliken completely screwed right there. He wasn't in a good position. He didn't really have a way to get out of it. Sometimes you just gotta buy back. Sometimes you just gotta buy back, guys. I actually don't think that anything comes from this. He doesn't even go back. It's the kind of thing where he knew that if he was able to get back in time before his team got disintegrated, which is what happened, he was going to be able to jump back in there. You know, his ultimate was almost going to be back up again. He was going to have that sword throw that let him get in there. He was going to have his shrunken head up. He just wasn't able to do it. But, you know, sometimes you just really got to err on the side of just buying back. I don't know why people don't buy back. Look, I'm going to rant about this, because I rant about this almost every time I open my mouth. Buybacks are so good, guys. They are so good. There's a reason that they had to limit it to 2, and it's not just the end game. You know, they really make you choose between using them in early game and using them in end game. I don't like that as much, because I feel like high-level players feel almost obligated to not try and do big plays with them early, because they don't want to be punished late game when they might really, really need those buybacks, right? They don't want to be punished by not having them. And I don't like that, but that's the way it is right now. But, you know, at lower levels of play, there are going to be very few times where that is actually going to happen. A lot more of the time what's going to happen is if you buy back and you keep the momentum for yourself and for your team by buying back, you're going to win more games from that than you're going to lose because you've already bought back twice and you're super farmed and it's, you know, 50 minutes into the game and you're the complete tipping point of your team and you're the one that all the farm is concentrated on. That's a much more rare situation. It's not to say it's not going to happen. It's not to say there's not going to be situations where you thought, oh, I really wish I hadn't bought back earlier. You know, take that risk. Just go buy back. Go buy back. Comely will like you more. Comely will call you handsome if you buy back. Especially, I mean, my checklist is usually, do I have a TP up? Do I have a tower somewhere near the team fight? And do I have the gold? And if all three of those are yeah, fuck it, I just buy back. So this is about Maliken and not buying back, but that was a nice little tangent for you. And again, you know, he's 1, 2, and 7, right? Which is not that impressive of a kill count, right? Like nobody's gonna be like, oh my god, what a monster 1, 2, and 7 Maliken. But he's farming so well. He's over 400 gold per minute. You see a really nice placement of the ultimate. He disabled a lot of targets right now. You just see how much damage he's able to take. He's just so much damage. He's really able to live through a lot and get back in there. He's just such a great hero. He's just so dependent on that core set of items. I'm going to be interested to see what he chooses to build from here. Because, you know, you have a couple of options, you know. A lot of people just go with Rift Shards. I think the Rift Shards are really good. Lady Facepalm thinks it's GG. It's weird the spectator chat gets saved. A lot of people go with Rift Shards just because it's so good. Again, you get a lot of pure damage boosts, which helps you just put out a shit ton of damage. You get those crits, which are hilarious with the splash. You know, anytime you have a combination of splash and crit, they tend to be pretty hilariously good. Like that's why things like a lot of people that have cleaves tend to get Runed Axe as well, or things that have crits tend to get Runed Axe, and Maliken just kind of does it backwards. Now, see, again, he's pushing himself into a dangerous position when he doesn't have Shrunken Head up. He doesn't have Ultimate up. And to me, that is that's a manly buyback. Fuck it, just buy back. He's got his core, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a single fuck, ladies and gentlemen. He's just gonna buy back. But again, I consider that a misplay on N0tail's part. And I can say that pretty confidently. I think that was a bad play on N0tail's part. And some people are very, they're pro players. I don't want to say if a play is good or not because they knew what they were doing. I'm watching this replay. I can rewind it. I can see everything on the map. I can see his health. I can see their health. I can see their positioning. And so objectively, it was a bad play. Now, was it a bad play only from his perspective? I don't know. There's a button you can hit. What is the button? What is the button? I'm going to find out what the button is. That lets you actually see the exact perspective of the player that you're watching. What is it? I'm going to find it. Is it R? Yeah, it's R. So if we hold R, we can actually see exactly what Maliken sees, which is pretty cool. The only problem is that when you unselect it, you lose your selection, so you can't switch back and forth really quickly. But it's a pretty cool feature. It's not as cool as the K bar, so we can know exactly how far away things are. See, this is the area you don't want to stand in if you're the enemy. someday I'm going to have a legitimate use for that. I'm really excited for that. And so down here, they have the Leisure team in kind of an uncomfortable position. They're a little bit afraid of Maliken, just because you always kind of have to be a little bit afraid of Maliken. They have really good initiation with that Tundra. And so they have the right to kind of go do Kongor. And now when you put a token on Maliken, he's pretty dangerous now, because he doesn't have to use his cooldowns right away. He can save them. He can put out a lot of damage before he uses them, because he doesn't have to be afraid of dying. Because if he dies, he just comes back up. And I was going to get a DD as well. And let's just pause. Let's just appreciate the situation for a moment. We have a Maliken who's only 2, 3, and 8. Again, right? That's a pretty big deal. He's only 2, 3, and 8. Here, can we do this? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, so good. So good. And then we have one sticking out, because it's a golf club. Not a great score. It's really not. But, he's got his Shrunken Head, he's got his Whispering Helm, he has a double damage, and he has a token. And he bought back twice, so he's not even using his gold farm very effectively. But he has that core, he has those pickups that he's going to get. Eventually a DD is going to spawn, and eventually you're going to have an opportunity to conquer, especially if you're Hellborn. Right? Let's be realistic here. Also, did you see that? Hold on, just look at this. He sword throws, and then runs all the way to the fucking creeps, so they get hit by the sword throw. Too good. Too good. A lot of people really kind of underestimate that you can use it on the return as well. It's a really good way to squeak out a little bit of extra farm. Doing things, we'll see if he actually does it here. No, he can't, because they're wild hunters. But it's a good way to squeak out just a little bit of extra healing. Also, I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but he also he used the life sword so that these wouldn't die to try to stack them. He was a tiny bit late on it, but still a classy little play to try to get a little bit of extra farm. Because that camp gives you a little bit of extra farm, but if you get a little bit of extra farm once a minute, that can add up to extra 60 GPM. Because look at it. He is 410 GPM right now, and ask yourself, how often are you playing something like Maliken and you're 2, 3, and 8 with over 400 GPM? Anybody can be over 400 GPM when you're getting fed a fucking immortal, right? But being able to squeeze out enough without letting your team get absolutely rolled is kind of the mark of a good farmer team. N0tail is really a good example of a really good farmer team. It's well to see. Again, he's got kind of everything he could ask for right now, except for maybe some kind of big damage item. He goes right in and uses ultimate. We see he's up to 80 armor, and then it collapses right away. But you saw immediately he was for like 80% reduction or something absurd like that. But now he's in a little bit of a bad spot, right? His Shrunken Head is over. His ultimate is going to fade pretty soon. And he's only going to have his sword throw. And so it's really going to come down to how much are they able to do. He does manage to get on Silhouette, but he's not able to get the kill. Oh, that was for Illusion anyway. And so he's in a little bit of an awkward position here. Yeah. And so he's going to have to pull back. And he didn't get too much done there, right? They got a kill on Hag, but that's about it. But thankfully his team isn't so far behind that's a huge issue. He's got the token, so he's not too afraid. He's really in a powerful position right now. And again, it's just such a great example to me of winning games, doing what you need to do, without huge absurd kill scores. They put him in a nice, safe lane. He didn't over-panic and try to over-farm. He got the items he needed. And it's a really good way to play Maliken. Now, he's not creep stacking at all. Right? He probably doesn't feel like he needs to, but that's a mistake. Right? That is something he could be doing to improve his GPM. Maybe he feels like they would steal the Ancients or something, or they didn't feel like they were in a position to do it. But stacking an Ancients with that Whispering Helm is such a good mood. You see that they're actually teleporting right back to lane so that he can farm. Never feel like you're so far ahead that you can just relax. That's a good way to lose games you didn't expect to lose. Again, they're only ahead by 1 kill. Right? After watching that last team fight, it's easy to feel like they're way, way ahead. But Belphegor's been farming really well as well. Their team is in a really good position, and they just have the control of the game. They don't need a huge kill count. They weren't after a huge kill count. They don't have some absurd ganking team. Tundra is pretty good at ganking, right? His ultimate's really good for it. His Pulse Box puts out quite a bit of damage, but they're a really good push team, right? Primarily, I would consider them a push team. And they've been doing that overwhelmingly well. There's some shit going down here, man. We might as well look at something. Parasite. Ooh. Little puzzle box on puzzle box action there. That's pretty hot. Ooh, Tundra. Unfortunate. One of the things that we haven't really focused on too much is that, I haven't felt like Polywog Priest has been super effective this game. It's actually being played by Chu as well. And so I would never speak such blasphemy normally, but I haven't really felt like Poly has been quite doing what he needs to do this game. Well, most of the kills on Maliken were probably because of his disable chains, and that's really great. But, they weren't able to slow down Storm. He did actually choose to go with Rift Shards as well. Again, just such a good item on him. We did see him die again. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. So, 5, 4, and 10, 430 GPM, sure, why not? But, thankfully they do have 2 sets of racks down. And so it's not too big of a deal. GG comes out from Poly. Is that a real GG? Oh, yeah, looks like it is. Well, GG's well played. All that fun stuff. Again, that was just kind of a fun scrim. It was just kind of just a look at seeing what the game looked like, what N0tail's play looked like, how he managed to farm so fucking much while he died so much. So yeah, interesting thing. It's something that I kind of think my playstyle is similar to sometimes, where I get like a shit ton of farm despite not doing as much as maybe I should. And so maybe next time we'll take a look at somebody who does the opposite and ganks really, really heavily to sacrifice their farm a little bit, but for the good of the team. So I'll look around, try to find a good replay for that. Maybe we'll do N0tail, because N0tail does play both styles, so maybe I'll find another replay from N0tail where he specifically plays the opposite style. But for now, I wanted to at least do something, so this was my 3-month out of retirement party where I came and did a Comely Presents. I'll probably be streaming for the rest of the night, and if you want to check out, that's twitch.tv/ComelyHan, and I will see you guys next time.